It's a beautiful day and I welcome you to the African News. We are broadcasting from Canada. My name is Sandra Asante. Top stories. Somali's army camp rocked by deadly suicide attack. Somali military base targeted by bomber. UN calls for free and fair elections in Mali. Equatorial Guinea soldiers charged over blast. Details of these stories coming up after the break. You're welcome back from the break to our first story. More than 10 soldiers have been killed after a suicide bomber blew himself up at the military base in Somali capital Mogadishu, report says. A reporter at the scene said the bomber, posing as a military trainee, walked into the army camp in the Wadaja district of the Somali capital and detonated explosive straps to his waist during the morning training. At least 10 other people have been injured. We are still in Somalia, and the army officer Mohammed Adan said the bomber behind Tuesday's attack was disguised among recruits queuing up for the outside the General de Go-Badan military camp when the explosion occurred. I have counted about 15 new recruits who have been killed in the blast, he stated, adding that the death toll could be higher. The injured people were taken to Mogadishu's Medina hospital, according to the Reuters news agency. Soldiers and military facilities are common target for the Al-Shabaab and Al-Qaeda aligned armed group fighting to overthrow the internationally backed government in Mogadishu. Hotels and security checkpoints are also commonly attacked. In December 2019, 81 people were killed by a suicide car bombing at the checkpoint in the city center, while the last significant assault on a hotel killed 11 in August 2020. Somalia has been mired in interlocking crisis for the last 30 years, with repeated bouts of civil war, clan conflict, armed rebellion, famine, and political instability. Al-Shabaab rose to prominence in 2006. Despite the long deploy of African Union peacemakers, it remained a potent force even though it has lost much of the territory it once controlled. We move to Mali now, and the UN Secretary Council has called for free and fair elections in Mali in the wake of a military takeover of the government. The majority of the 15-member council said that the military leader should not participate in the election scheduled for February next year, while underscoring the need to ensure that they were free and credible. French ambassador to the UN, Nicolas de Verrier, said the forum that the absolute priority must be organization of the presidential elections in February 2022. The Malian political class must now show responsibility. It came as the UN Special Envoy for the Mali, El Gassim Ouani, called for strong international support amid a deteriorating security and humanitarian situation in the country. Mr. Ouani said the new president and prime minister of the transition had reassured international partners that they will respect the transitional calendar. However, he said that immediate action was required for critical reforms in preparation for the credible electoral process. We cannot allow Mali to slide into further instability with drastic sequences for the sub-regions and beyond, Mr. Ouani said, according to a statement from the UN. Mali has had 2 coups in the 9 months, with the military junta leader called Assimi Goïta recently declaring himself transitional president. He has named opposition leader Kongo Maga as prime minister of the transitional government. To our last and final story, 2 soldiers in Equatorial Guinea have been charged with homicide and negligence in the military court following explosion in March at the Nomisient depot in Bata City that left 107 people dead and 615 injured. The stockpile of explosive at the Iguantoma military base was accidentally detonated, flattening buildings inside the barracks and destroying people's homes in the surrounding area. Prosecutors are seeking a sentence of 30 years for the lieutenant colonel and 70 years for the corporal who was being charged. Meanwhile, a compensation commission set up after the blast has ordered that DNA tests must be carried out immediately on unrecognizable bodies. It said funds for the relatives of the 86 victims who have been identified will be released soon. The government also planned to pay for prosthetic limbs for those that need them in the wake of the blast. This work will be carried out next month when the compensation committee meets again. Thank you so much for joining me. This is where I end today's news. My name is Sandra. Asante. See you some other time.